The fluorescent lights of the Broadway Lafayette subway station flickered at 11 p.m., casting shadows that made the platform feel more dangerous than it probably was. Maya Rodriguez clutched her backpack closer, the weight of her textbooks a familiar comfort as she waited for the F train that would take her back to her tiny apartment in Queens. At 22, Maya had perfected the art of urban invisibility. Keep your head down, earbuds in, even if no music was playing, avoid eye contact, project an aura of not worth the trouble. It was survival strategy in a city that could be beautiful and brutal in equal measure. She'd just finished her shift at the diner in Greenwich Village. 8 hours of carrying plates, refilling coffee, smiling at customers who barely saw her face. Before that, morning classes at City College where she was grinding through a nursing degree one semester at a time, paying as she went because student loans felt like a trap she couldn't afford to fall into. Maya was exhausted, bone-deep, soul-tired, exhausted. But she had $48 in tips tucked into her sock. Rent was due in 3 days, and she'd make it work. She always made it work. The platform was nearly empty at this hour. Just Maya, a man in a business suit absorbed in his phone, and an elderly woman sitting on a bench near the far end, her hands folded over a leather purse that had probably been expensive 30 years ago. The old woman looked out of place. She wore an elegant black coat, probably cashmere, with a silk scarf tied at her throat. Her silver hair was styled in a way that spoke of weekly salon visits. Diamond earrings caught the harsh lights. She sat with perfect posture, back straight, hands steady, completely calm despite being alone on a subway platform late at night. Maya noticed her because she noticed everyone, another survival skill. Know who's around you, assess threats, plan escape routes. The old woman didn't seem dangerous, just incongruous, like someone who should be in a chauffeured car, not waiting for the F train. The rumble of an approaching train echoed through the tunnel. Maya stood ready to board when she heard footsteps, fast, purposeful, coming down the stairs. 3 men emerged onto the platform. Maya's internal alarm system immediately started screaming. They moved wrong, too coordinated, too focused, scanning the platform with predatory intensity. One of them locked eyes with the elderly woman and smiled. It wasn't a nice smile. Maya should have looked away, should have gotten on the train, minded her business, gone home. She had her own problems, rent, tuition, her mother's medical bills back in the Bronx. She couldn't afford to be a hero. But then the old woman looked up, saw the 3 men approaching, and Maya caught a flash of something in her expression, not fear but resignation, like she'd known this was coming and had accepted it. No, Maya thought, not tonight, not on my watch. The train pulled into the station with a screech of brakes. The doors opened. The businessman got on without looking up from his phone. Maya stayed on the platform. The 3 men converged on the old woman. The leader, tall, heavily built, with a snake tattoo crawling up his neck, reached for her purse. "Give it up, Grandma, make it easy." "I don't think so," the old woman said calmly, her accent faintly Italian. "This purse was a gift from my late husband. You're not taking it." Snake Tattoo laughed. "That's cute, but I'm not asking." "Hey," Maya's voice came out louder than she'd intended, adrenaline overriding her usual quiet nature. "Leave her alone." 3 heads turned toward her. Maya's heart hammered against her ribs, but she stepped forward anyway, positioning herself between the elderly woman and the men. "You're kidding, right?" Snake Tattoo looked her up and down, taking in her cheap sneakers, her faded jeans, the diner uniform visible under her jacket. "Little girl, you want to be a hero. That's a good way to get hurt." "Then hurt me, but you're not touching her." Maya's voice was steadier now, even though her hands shook. She'd been in bad situations before. Growing up in the Bronx taught you to fight or flee, and sometimes fleeing wasn't an option. "Maya, was it?" The old woman had stood, reading the name tag still pinned to Maya's uniform. "That's a beautiful name, but dear, you should go. Get on the train. This isn't your fight." "Can't do that, ma'am. My mom raised me better." Something shifted in the old woman's expression, surprise, respect, and something else Maya couldn't identify. "Your mother sounds like a wise woman." "She is. Also, she'd kill me if I let someone rob a grandmother on the subway." The old woman smiled, and it was warm and genuine. "I like you, Maya. You have coraggio, courage." "Touching," Snake Tattoo interrupted. "But we're done here. Both of you, purses, phones, jewelry now." His 2 friends spread out, flanking Maya and the elderly woman. The train doors closed, the F train pulling away into the tunnel, leaving them alone on the platform with three men who clearly meant business. Maya's mind raced through options. She had $48 they could take. Her phone was ancient, barely worth stealing. But giving in meant these men would hurt the old woman, and Maya couldn't stomach that. "Last chance," Snake Tattoo said, pulling a knife from his jacket. "Give us your shit, or—" Maya moved without thinking. Years of desperate self-defense. Growing up with brothers, fighting off handsy customers at the diner, taking a women's self-defense class at the Y that one semester she could afford it. All of it crystallized into action. She grabbed her backpack by the strap and swung it hard, the weight of her anatomy textbook connecting with Snake Tattoo's wrist. The knife clattered to the platform. Before he could recover, Maya kicked him hard in the knee, not fancy, just effective, and he went down with a grunt of pain. "Bitch," one of his friends lunged at her. Maya dodged, but not quite fast enough. His hand caught her jacket, yanking her backward. She stumbled, falling hard on the concrete platform, her shoulder hitting with a crack that sent pain shooting down her arm. The old woman moved then. Moved faster than any elderly person should, her purse swinging up to catch the second attacker in the face with surprising force. He staggered back, nose bleeding, cursing in Spanish. "No one touches her," the old woman said, and her voice had gone cold as winter. "You made a very serious mistake tonight, young man." The third man, seeing his friends injured and confused by an elderly woman who fought like she'd been trained, did the smart thing. He ran. Up the stairs out of the station, his footsteps echoing. Snake Tattoo struggled to his feet, his knee clearly damaged, rage contorting his face. "You're both dead, you understand? Dead, I'm coming back with." "With what?" A new voice, deep and commanding, echoed across the platform. "More friends, better weapons, the police." Maya looked up from where she'd fallen to see a man descending the stairs, mid-40s, dark hair silver at the temples, wearing a suit that probably cost more than Maya made in 3 months. He was flanked by two other men, both large and clearly dangerous. But it was the first man who commanded attention. He had the kind of presence that made everyone else feel like background characters, the kind of eyes that missed nothing. Those eyes took in the scene. The elderly woman standing protectively over Maya, the two injured attackers, the knife on the ground, and his expression went from curious to absolutely murderous in the space of a heartbeat. "Mama," his voice was tight with barely controlled rage. "Did these men touch you?" "They tried, Caro, but this young woman stopped them." The elderly woman, Mama, apparently gestured to Maya. "Maya Rodriguez, very brave, very stupid, but very brave." The man's gaze shifted to Maya, still on the ground, cradling her injured shoulder. Something flickered in his eyes, concern, maybe, or assessment, before he turned back to the attackers. "Dante, Marco, take care of this." The two men who'd accompanied him moved with professional efficiency. Dante, a compact man with cold eyes, grabbed Snake Tattoo and slammed him face first into a support column. Marco, built like a linebacker, caught the second attacker by the throat and lifted him off the ground like he weighed nothing. Wait, we didn't know." Snake Tattoo was babbling now, all his earlier bravado gone. "We didn't know who she was if we'd known." "If you'd known, you wouldn't have tried to rob her. But you didn't know, so you did. And worse," the man's voice dropped to something quiet and terrifying, "you put your hands on someone who was defending her. That is unforgivable." He crouched next to Maya, his movements slow and deliberate like approaching a frightened animal. "Are you hurt?" "My shoulder, I landed wrong." Maya's voice came out smaller than she intended. The adrenaline was fading, leaving her shaky and suddenly aware that she'd just fought off muggers in front of what appeared to be very dangerous people. "I'll be fine. I should go." "You're not going anywhere until we make sure you're all right." He extended his hand. "I'm Lorenzo Romano. The woman you saved is my mother, Isabella." Maya took his hand. His grip was strong but gentle, and let him help her to her feet. Pain shot through her shoulder, making her wince. "That needs to be looked at," Lorenzo said. "Dante, call Dr. Russo. Tell him we're coming to him, emergency." "I don't need a doctor, I'm fine." Maya tried to pull away, but Lorenzo held her steady. "Look, I'm glad your mom's okay, but I really need to go. I have class in the morning and you're injured because you defended my mother from 3 armed men when you could have walked away." Lorenzo's voice was firm. "The least I can do is make sure you're treated properly. Please, Maya, let me help." Isabella Romano touched Maya's uninjured arm. He won't take no for an answer, Kara. My son is stubborn, and when he owes someone a debt, he pays it. You saved my life tonight. That's not a small thing. I didn't save your life. I couldn't stand by and watch. Anyone would have. But they didn't, Isabella interrupted gently. That businessman walked away. The other passengers stayed on the train. You were the only one who stood up. That means something. Maya looked between mother and son, both watching her with an intensity that made her deeply uncomfortable. She should leave, should thank them politely and get on the next train and forget this ever happened. But her shoulder hurt badly enough that she was worried something might be broken, and she didn't have insurance that covered emergency room visits. And these people were offering help, and Maya had learned a long time ago that pride was a luxury poor people couldn't afford. Okay, she agreed quietly. But I can't afford. I don't have insurance for a doctor, so if there's a bill. There won't be. Lorenzo's voice was absolute. Consider it a gift, a thank you for protecting my mother. Behind them, Dante and Marco were having a quiet but clearly threatening conversation with the two attackers. Maya heard phrases like, never show your face in this city again, and we'll be watching, and decided she really didn't want to know the details. The third man, the one who'd run away, was being dragged back down the stairs by another suited man who'd apparently caught him at street level. He was crying, babbling apologies. Chi cosa facciamo con loro? Marco asked Lorenzo. What do we do with them? Let them go, Lorenzo said, surprising everyone. But make sure they understand. If I ever see them again, if they ever come near anyone in my mother's presence, if they so much as jaywalk in Brooklyn, they'll disappear. Understood. The three men nodded frantically and were released. They scrambled up the stairs and out of the station like the devil himself was chasing them. Which Maya reflected he probably was. Come, Isabella said, linking her arm through Maya's uninjured one with surprising familiarity. Lorenzo's car is upstairs. Dr. Russo will fix your shoulder and then we'll take you home. You've had quite enough excitement for one night. I really don't need. Kara, let us help. You helped us. That's how it works. Maya found herself being gently but firmly guided toward the stairs. Lorenzo on one side, Isabella on the other, with Dante and Marco following behind like very well-dressed bodyguards. As they emerged onto the street, a black Mercedes pulled up, the kind with tinted windows and diplomatic plates. A driver got out and opened doors. This is too much, Maya protested. I can take the train. With a potentially broken shoulder? Absolutely not. Lorenzo helped his mother into the back seat, then gestured for Maya to follow. Please, it's the least we can do. Maya hesitated for one more moment. Every instinct she had screaming that this was a mistake, that she was getting involved with people way above her pay grade, that nothing good could come from riding in expensive cars with men who made muggers cry. But her shoulder hurt, and she was tired, and these people seemed genuinely grateful. What was the worst that could happen? Oh, honey, a voice in her head that sounded suspiciously like her mother said, you really don't want to know the answer to that question. But Maya got in the car anyway. Sometimes the worst decisions make the best stories. And sometimes, just sometimes, a moment of courage on a subway platform changes everything. Maya just didn't know it yet. Dr. Russo's office was in a brownstone in Carroll Gardens, the kind of neighborhood where even the air felt expensive. It was nearly midnight, but lights blazed from the first-floor windows as the Mercedes pulled up. He keeps late hours, Maya asked, trying to ignore how out of place she felt in this pristine neighborhood with her diner uniform and scuffed sneakers. He keeps hours when we need him, Lorenzo said simply, helping his mother and then Maya out of the car. Dante, wait here. The doctor himself opened the door. A man in his 60s, silver-haired, wearing pajamas under a hastily donned cardigan, but greeting them like midnight house calls were completely normal. Isabella, are you hurt? He took her hands, examining her with practiced efficiency. I'm fine, mio caro, but this young woman, Maya, she injured her shoulder defending me. Can you help her? Dr. Russo's attention shifted to Maya, and she felt herself being assessed with the same thorough intensity. Come in, come in. Lorenzo, take your mother to the sitting room. Young lady, you're with me. He led Maya to an examination room that looked like it belonged in a high-end medical practice, state-of-the-art equipment, everything spotlessly clean. Maya perched on the exam table while Dr. Russo washed his hands. Tell me what happened, he said as he gently removed her jacket, his touch clinical and kind. Maya explained about the fall, the impact. Dr. Russo examined her shoulder with careful fingers, manipulating the joint while asking about pain levels and range of motion. Nothing broken, he announced finally. Severe bruising, possibly a slight muscle tear. You'll need to rest it, ice for the next 48 hours, and no heavy lifting for at least 2 weeks. He pulled out a prescription pad. I'm giving you pain medication and an anti-inflammatory. Fill these tomorrow. I can't afford. No charge, and the pharmacy I'm sending you to will bill the Romano family, not you. Dr. Russo's voice was gentle but firm. Young lady, you saved Isabella Romano from 3 armed men. The least we can do is treat your injuries properly. He fitted Maya's arm into a sling, showed her how to adjust it, and gave her a small bottle of pills from a locked cabinet. Take one now for the pain, one before bed tonight, then as needed tomorrow. They'll make you drowsy, so no driving. I don't have a car. Good, then you'll be fine, Dr. Russo smiled. You're a brave young woman, Maya, but next time you see someone being robbed, call 911 instead of attacking the robbers yourself. You could have been killed. So could your patient, Maya pointed out. Isabella Romano, Dr. Russo laughed. That woman has survived things you can't imagine. She would have been fine, but I appreciate your courage nonetheless. He led her back to the sitting room where Lorenzo and Isabella were having a quiet conversation in Italian. They looked up as Maya entered, and Lorenzo immediately stood. How is she? Bruised, not broken. She needs rest and medication. I've given her instructions. Dr. Russo handed Lorenzo the prescriptions. Make sure she fills these tomorrow, and Lorenzo, take care of her. She's special. After they left Dr. Russo's office, Isabella insisted Maya sit in the back seat with her while Lorenzo took the front passenger seat. Tell me about yourself, Cara, Isabella said, taking Maya's hand with the casual affection of someone who'd known her for years instead of an hour. You're a student, and you work. Yeah, nursing degree at City College. I work at a diner in the village, Pete's Place, if you know it. 2 jobs usually, but I quit the cleaning service last month because the hours were killing me. Nursing, that's noble work. Isabella's voice was warm. And your family, are they here in New York? My mom's in the Bronx. She has MS, multiple sclerosis. My younger sister lives with her, helps take care of her. I send money home when I can. Maya didn't know why she was sharing all this with a stranger, but something about Isabella made her want to talk. Maybe it was the pain medication starting to work. Maybe it was exhaustion. Maybe it was the way Isabella listened like Maya's life actually mattered. And your father? Gone. He left when I was 12 when Mom got diagnosed. Couldn't handle it. The old bitterness was still there, but muted by time and acceptance. Then he was a fool, Isabella said simply. A man who abandons his family is no man at all. She squeezed Maya's hand. You're taking care of your mother and your sister while going to school and working. That's extraordinary, Maya. It's just life. You do what you have to do. No, Cara, most people do the minimum. You're doing everything. There's a difference. From the front seat, Lorenzo said quietly, Where do you live, Maya? We'll take you home. Maya rattled off her address in Queens, a 5th-floor walk-up in a building that had seen better days. She saw Lorenzo exchange a glance with the driver but couldn't read the expression. The drive took 20 minutes. The Mercedes felt like a spaceship compared to the subway, smooth, quiet, climate-controlled. Maya found herself drifting, the pain medication making everything soft around the edges. Cara, Isabella's voice pulled her back to alertness. We're here. Maya looked out to see her building, even more rundown than usual in comparison to the gleaming car. Trash bags on the curb, one streetlight flickering, the security door hanging half open because the lock had been broken for months. This is it. Thank you for the ride and for the doctor and for... I'll walk you up, Lorenzo said, already out of the car and opening her door. Make sure you get inside safely. That's not necessary. It's nearly 1 a.m. and you're injured and medicated. I'm walking you up. His tone left no room for argument. Maya was too tired to fight. She let Lorenzo guide her into the building, up 5 flights of stairs. The elevator had been broken for a year, to her apartment door. Her hands shook as she dug out her keys, whether from exhaustion or pain or the surreal nature of having Lorenzo Romano in her building. Thank you, she said again, unlocking the door, for everything. Maya, Lorenzo's voice stopped her from disappearing inside. What you did tonight, that took real courage. Most people would have walked away. You didn't. That says something about your character. I just did what anyone should do. But they don't. That makes you rare. He pulled out a business card, pressing it into her hand. If you need anything, anything at all, you call this number. Medical bills, rent assistance, anything. I owe you a debt for protecting my mother. I always pay my debts. You don't owe me anything. I disagree, but we'll discuss it when you're not exhausted and medicated. He smiled slightly. Take care of that shoulder, and Maya, be more careful. Not everyone you save is going to have family as grateful as mine. After he left, Maya stood in her tiny apartment, really just a studio with a hot plate and a bathroom she shared with roaches, and looked at the business card. Lorenzo Romano, Romano Enterprises, Construction and Development. She turned it over. A phone number was handwritten on the back, along with 2 words in elegant script, "Call me." Maya set the card on her rickety desk, next to her nursing textbooks and the stack of bills she was slowly paying down. She was too tired to think about what tonight meant, about what kind of people the Romanos were, about why a simple act of helping had resulted in private doctors and business cards and promises of debt repayment. She took another pain pill, collapsed onto her futon, and fell into dreamless sleep, still wearing her diner uniform. Tomorrow she'd go back to her regular life, to classes and shifts and grinding exhaustion. Tonight would become a story she'd tell someday. Remember that time I saved a woman on the subway and she turned out to be someone important. Maya had no way of knowing that tomorrow wouldn't be regular at all. That Lorenzo Romano meant every word about paying his debts. And that the life she'd been living, small and struggling but familiar, was about to change in ways she couldn't begin to imagine. Maya woke to pounding on her door and sunlight streaming through the threadbare curtains. She groaned, her shoulder immediately reminding her of last night's excitement with a sharp spike of pain. Coming, she stumbled to the door, still in yesterday's clothes, and pulled it open to find her landlord's son, a perpetually annoyed 20-something named Derek who helped manage the building. "Delivery," he said, gesturing behind him. "Like a lot of delivery." Maya peered into the hallway and gasped. Flowers everywhere, roses, lilies, orchids, arrangements in crystal vases that probably cost more than her monthly rent. They lined the hallway, a riot of color and fragrance that seemed absurd in the dingy building. "There's like 20 arrangements," Derek said. "The delivery guy said they're all for you. Maya Rodriguez, Unit 5F, that's you, right?" Yes, but..." "Great, sign here." He thrust a clipboard at her. "And hey, can you move these inside? They're blocking the hallway, and Mrs. Chen on 5D already complained." Maya signed in a daze and started moving the arrangements into her apartment. It took 10 trips, and by the end, her tiny studio looked like a florist shop. The scent was overwhelming, beautiful but almost too much in the small space. A card was attached to the largest arrangement, 24 white roses. Maya opened it with shaking hands. "Thank you for your courage. My mother can't stop talking about you. Please call me. I'd like to take you to lunch to properly express our gratitude. Lorenzo Romano." His private number was written below. Maya sat on her futon, surrounded by thousands of dollars worth of flowers, and tried to process. This was insane. People didn't send 20 flower arrangements to say thank you. What was this? Her phone rang. Unknown number. She almost didn't answer, but something made her pick up. "Hello? Maya, this is Isabella Romano. Lorenzo gave me your number. I hope that's all right." "Mrs. Romano. Yes, of course. Thank you for the flowers. They're beautiful, but really too much." "Nonsense. You saved my life. Flowers are the least I can do." Isabella's voice was warm. "Kara, I'm calling because I'd like to invite you to dinner. Tonight at my home, just family. Lorenzo, me, my daughter Sophia. Nothing formal. I want to thank you properly." "That's very kind, but I have a shift at the diner tonight." "What time does it end?" 11. "Perfect. Lorenzo will pick you up from work and bring you to the house. We'll have a late supper. We're Italian. We eat late anyway." Isabella laughed, and it was such a warm sound that Maya found herself smiling despite her reservations. "Please say yes. I promise, just dinner. No strings, no obligations. I simply want to get to know the brave young woman who defended me." Maya should say no. should maintain boundaries with these people who were clearly wealthy and powerful and way outside her world. But Isabella's voice held such genuine warmth, and Maya was curious despite herself. "Okay," she agreed, "but nothing fancy. I don't have nice clothes." "Come as you are, Kyra. We don't care about that. Just bring yourself." After Isabella hung up, Maya looked around her apartment, at the flowers that had transformed her tiny space into something almost beautiful, at the business card still sitting on her desk, at the sling supporting her injured shoulder. "What am I doing?" she asked the empty room. The empty room, wisely, didn't answer. Maya's shift at Pete's place was the usual chaos, lunch rush of NYU students and tourists, followed by the dinner crowd. Her shoulder ached despite the pain medication, and she moved more slowly than usual, favoring the injured side. Pete, her boss, a gruff 60-year-old who'd owned the diner for 30 years, noticed. "You okay, kid? You're moving like you got hit by a truck." "Hurt my shoulder, it's fine." "You sure? Because I can call Jenny in, cover the rest of your shift." "No, I need the money." Maya refilled coffee for a couple at the counter. "I'm fine, Pete, really." At 10:45, she was clearing tables when Pete called her to the front. "Maya, there's a guy here for you. Says you got dinner plans." Maya looked up to see Lorenzo Romano standing in the diner, looking impossibly elegant in dark jeans and a black sweater, completely out of place among the worn vinyl booths and faded formica counters. "Mr. Romano, I'm not off until 11. "I'm early, take your time." He slid onto a counter stool like he ate at diners every day. "Can I get coffee while I wait?" Pete was already pouring, his eyes suspicious. "Friend of yours, Maya." "Something like that." "He bothering you?" Maya smiled at Pete's protective instinct. "No, Pete, he's fine. His mother is someone I helped yesterday. We're just having dinner." Pete grunted, unconvinced, but left them alone. Maya finished her closing tasks while trying to ignore Lorenzo's presence, which was like trying to ignore a supernova. Other customers stared. Jenny, the other waitress on shift, actually walked into a table while gawking. Finally, at 11:15, Maya clocked out. She emerged from the back room in her street clothes, jeans, a Columbia hoodie, sneakers, and found Lorenzo waiting by the door. "Ready as I'll ever be." The Mercedes was parked outside. Same car, same driver. Lorenzo opened the back door for her, and Maya slid in to find Isabella already waiting, elegant in a simple black dress and pearls. "Cara," Isabella embraced her carefully, mindful of her shoulder. "How are you feeling?" "Sore, but okay. Mrs. Romano, thank you again for the flowers." "Isabella, please, Mrs. Romano makes me feel ancient." She kept Maya's hand in hers as Lorenzo got in on the other side. "And the flowers were nothing. Wait until you see what else we have planned." "What else? I thought this was just dinner." It is. But first we stop at my favorite shop. You need something pretty to wear." "I'm wearing something." "Kyra, you work 2 jobs and go to school. When was the last time you bought yourself something nice? Something just for you, not because you needed it." Maya couldn't remember, probably never. "Exactly," Isabella said, reading her expression. "So humor an old woman, let me spoil you a little." The shop Isabella took her to was in Soho, the kind of boutique with no prices displayed and sales associates who looked like models. Maya wanted to run, but Isabella swept in like she owned the place. She probably did, Maya reflected, and immediately started pulling clothes. "Try these and these. Oh, this would look stunning with your coloring." "Isabella, I can't afford." "I'm buying, no arguments." "Lorenzo, tell her no arguments." "You won't win," Lorenzo said from where he leaned against a wall, clearly accustomed to his mother's shopping expeditions. "She's made up her mind, just accept gracefully." An hour later, Maya emerged with 3 bags containing 2 dresses, a pair of good jeans, a cashmere sweater, cashmere, and a pair of boots that fit perfectly and probably cost more than her textbooks. She'd protested every item, and Isabella had ignored every protest. "Now you look perfect," Isabella declared after Maya changed into the jeans, sweater, and boots in the shop's dressing room. "Beautiful and comfortable, that's how a woman should always feel." The Romano house was in Brooklyn Heights, a historic brownstone on a tree-lined street where even the air felt expensive. Inside was elegant but warm, antique furniture mixed with family photos, the scent of cooking garlic and tomatoes, classical music playing softly. "Sophia," Isabella called, "come meet our guest." A woman in her late 30s appeared from the kitchen, tall, elegant, with Isabella's dark eyes and Lorenzo's commanding presence. She wore an apron over designer clothes and held a wooden spoon. "So you're the brave girl who saved Mama." Sophia wiped her hands and pulled Maya into a hug. "I'm Sophia, the daughter. Welcome to chaos." "It's not chaos," Isabella protested. "It's family." Dinner was served in the dining room. Homemade pasta, braciole, roasted vegetables, crusty bread. Sophia and Isabella had cooked it all, and they served Maya like she was an honored guest rather than a stranger who'd happened to help one night. "Tell us about nursing school," Sophia said, refilling Maya's wine glass. "Why nursing?" "My mom has MS. I watched her get sick, watched her lose mobility, watched her suffer. The nurses who helped her, they made such a difference, not just medically, but emotionally. They made her feel human when the disease was trying to take that away." Maya took a sip of wine, better than anything she'd ever tasted. "I want to do that for other people, make them feel seen and cared for when they're at their most vulnerable." "That's beautiful," Isabella said, her eyes soft. "And your mother, how is she managing?" Maya explained about her mother's condition, about her sister Daniela helping with daily care, about the constant struggle with medical bills and insurance. She didn't mean to share so much, but these people asked questions like they genuinely cared about the answers. "And you're doing this all yourself?" Lorenzo had been quiet through most of dinner, but now he leaned forward. "Working 2 jobs, sending money home, paying for school out of pocket." "3 jobs until last month, but yeah, that's the reality. There's no fairy godmother coming to save us. I do what I have to do." "What about financial aid, scholarships?" "I make too much for need-based aid, but not enough to actually, live comfortably. And my GPA isn't high enough for academic scholarships because I'm working so much I can barely keep up with classes." Maya shrugged. "It is what it is." Lorenzo and Isabella exchanged a look that Maya couldn't interpret. Then Isabella patted her hand. "Well, you have us now, and we take care of people who take care of us." After dinner, Sophia insisted on showing Maya the garden, a small backyard transformed into an Italian paradise with herbs and flowers and a fountain. They stood outside in the cool evening air, and Sophia lit a cigarette. "Can I tell you something?" Sophia said. "Sure." "My mother is never impressed by anyone. She's seen everything, dealt with everyone, but she can't stop talking about you. About how you didn't hesitate, didn't even think, you just protected her." Sophia took a drag. "That means something in our family. Loyalty, courage, protecting people who can't protect themselves. Those are values we hold sacred." "I just did what was right." "Exactly, you did what was right without calculating what it would cost you. That's rare, Maya, especially in this city." Sophia turned to face her. "My brother wants to help you. He's going to offer, probably tonight, maybe tomorrow, to cover your expenses. School, rent, your mother's medical bills, all of it." Maya's stomach dropped. "I can't accept that, that's too much." "I know you're going to say no. You have pride, you're independent, you don't want to feel like charity, I get it." Sophia smiled. "But here's the thing, my family doesn't do charity, we pay our debts. You saved Mama's life. Whatever Lorenzo offers, it's not charity, it's repayment. Let him pay." "But I didn't save her life to get paid. I did it because it was the right thing to do." "I know, that's why he's offering." Sophia stubbed out her cigarette. "Look, I'm not going to pressure you, but think about it. You're killing yourself working multiple jobs and going to school and taking care of your family. What if you didn't have to? What if you could focus on becoming the best nurse you can be without worrying about rent?" "There's always a catch. People don't just give away that kind of money." "No catch, no strings, just a family repaying a debt." Sophia's voice was serious. "We're not asking you to do anything illegal or immoral. We're not asking you to owe us anything beyond what you've already given, your courage and your kindness. We just want to help." Inside, Isabella was showing Lorenzo something on her phone, both of them laughing. They looked up as Sophia and Maya returned, and the warmth in their expressions made Maya's chest ache. This was family, real, close, supportive family. Something she'd had once before her father left and her mother got sick and everything got hard. "Maya," Lorenzo said, "can we talk privately?" He led her to a study lined with books, everything from Italian classics to business texts to, surprisingly, nursing journals. Lorenzo gestured for her to sit in a leather chair while he leaned against the desk. "I want to help you." he said without preamble. I've looked into your situation. I hope you don't mind, but I had someone pull public records. Your mother's medical bills are substantial. You're behind on student loan payments for the classes you took before you started paying cash. Your rent is barely affordable, and you're one emergency away from eviction. Maya's face flushed with embarrassment and anger. You investigated me. I researched you. There's a difference. I needed to understand your situation so I could help properly. Lorenzo's voice was calm. Maya, you saved my mother's life. That's not hyperbole. Those men had knives and she's 72 years old. If you hadn't intervened, this could have ended very differently. So you're offering what? Money? I'm offering to eliminate your financial stress so you can focus on becoming a nurse. Full tuition for the rest of your degree covered. Rent paid. Your mother's medical bills handled. A stipend so you don't have to work 2 jobs anymore. You can focus on school and maybe one part-time position if you want the experience. It was too much, way too much. Maya shook her head. I can't accept that. That's tens of thousands of dollars. Pocket change to me, meaningful to you. That's the point. Lorenzo moved to crouch in front of her chair, his dark eyes serious. I'm not asking you to owe me anything. I'm not expecting anything in return. This is a gift freely given because you did something extraordinary. Let me do this, Maya, please. Why do you care so much? Lorenzo was quiet for a long moment. Do you know why my mother was on the subway alone at 11 at night? No. Because she's stubborn. Because she insists on living independently, going where she wants when she wants, despite having 3 children who would happily provide drivers and security. Because she refuses to act like she's old or vulnerable. His voice roughened. I've told her 100 times it's not safe. She ignores me. And last night I was proven right. 3 men with knives tried to rob her and she could have been killed. But she wasn't. Because you stopped them. You, a 22-year-old working 3 jobs who had every reason to stay out of it, you risked your life for a stranger. That kind of courage, that kind of basic human decency. Lorenzo stood, running a hand through his hair. That deserves to be rewarded, and frankly, if I don't help you, my mother will make my life hell. She's already planning to pay your rent directly. Despite herself, Maya smiled. She seems pretty determined. She's terrifying when she sets her mind to something. Trust me, it's easier to just accept gracefully. Maya looked at him, really looked. Lorenzo Romano was offering her a way out of the grinding poverty that had defined her adult life. A chance to finish school without working herself to exhaustion. A chance to help her mother without sacrificing her own future. Pride said refuse, practicality said accept, and somewhere in the middle was the truth. She was too tired to keep fighting alone. Okay, she said quietly. I'll accept, but with conditions. Name them. First, I finish my degree all the way through. No dropping out, no taking breaks. This is an investment in my future as a nurse, not just a handout. Agreed. Second, I want everything in writing. A contract that specifies what you're paying for and confirms I don't owe you anything beyond completing my education. Reasonable, my lawyer will draw it up. Third, I keep working, at least part-time. I need the experience, and I need to feel like I'm contributing to my own life. Acceptable as long as it doesn't interfere with your studies. Lorenzo smiled. Anything else? Yeah, I want to meet with your mother regularly, like Sunday dinners or something. She seems... Maya struggled to articulate the feeling. She seems like someone I'd like to know better, if that's not weird. Lorenzo's smile became genuine, warm. She'd love that. She's already told Sophia you're her new favorite person. Then we have a deal. They shook hands and Maya felt the shift from stranger to something else. Not family, not yet, but not alone anymore. Which was more than she'd had yesterday. Sometimes, Maya reflected, the universe sends you exactly what you need right when you're about to give up. Sometimes it sends 3 robbers and an elderly woman and a man who believes in paying his debts. Sometimes salvation comes from the most unexpected places. The contract arrived 3 days later, hand-delivered to Maya's apartment by a lawyer named Mr. Benedetti, who looked like he charged more per hour than Maya made in a week. Mr. Romano wanted you to review this carefully, Benedetti said, handing her a thick envelope. Take your time. If you have any questions or want anything changed, call me directly. My number's on my card. Maya read the contract 3 times, expecting to find the catch, but it was straightforward to the point of being generous. The Romano Family Foundation, agrees to provide Maya Elena Rodriguez with full tuition for completion of nursing degree at City College of New York, monthly housing stipend of $2,500 for duration of studies, payment of all outstanding medical bills for Rosa Maria Rodriguez, mother, monthly contribution of $1,000 toward ongoing medical care for Rosa Rodriguez, health insurance coverage for Maya Rodriguez. In exchange, Maya Rodriguez agrees to complete her nursing degree with minimum 3 GPA, provide quarterly progress reports to Foundation, attend monthly family dinners with the Romano family. This agreement may be terminated by either party with 30 days written notice. Upon termination or completion, Maya Rodriguez will owe no financial repayment to the Romano family. Maya stared at the monthly dinner requirement. She called the number on Benedetti's card. "That's not a requirement," she said when he answered. "I'm not being paid to have dinner with them." "Actually, Miss Rodriguez, that clause was Mrs. Isabella Romano's condition for approving the contract. She refused to sign without it." Benedetti's voice held amusement. "I believe her exact words were, 'I'm not giving money to someone I'll never see again. She'll eat with us once a month or the deal is off.'" "She's serious." "Mrs. Romano is always serious when it comes to family, and she's apparently decided you're family now. Welcome to the chaos, Miss Rodriguez." Maya signed the contract, her hand shaking slightly. This was real. This was happening. Her life was about to completely change. 2 weeks later, the changes became concrete. Her tuition was paid in full, not just for the current semester, but for the remaining year and a half of her program. The registrar's office called her personally to confirm, their usually bored voices taking on new warmth when they saw who'd paid. Her landlord called to inform her the rent was paid through the end of the year, plus a security deposit that would cover any damages. "Also," he added, "some guys are coming tomorrow to fix your apartment. The Romano Foundation sent them, said something about making sure their scholarship recipients have decent living conditions." The guys turned out to be a full renovation crew. Over one weekend, they fixed the plumbing, replaced the ancient hot plate with a real stove, updated the bathroom, painted the walls, and installed new windows that actually sealed properly. Maya came back from a shift at Pete's to find her apartment transformed from dingy studio to actually livable space. Her mother's nursing home called with the news that all outstanding bills had been paid, and a trust had been established for her ongoing care. The administrator sounded confused but pleased. "We've never had a benefactor step in like this. Your mother must have made quite an impression on someone." "Something like that," Maya said. She quit her cleaning job, the one she'd kept specifically because it paid under the table and didn't interfere with class schedule. Suddenly, she had time. Actual free time. Time to study properly, to sleep more than 5 hours a night, to occasionally see her friends. It felt surreal. The first Sunday dinner at the Romano house, Maya arrived nervous and uncertain, but Isabella swept her into a hug the moment she walked in. "Cara, you look rested. Good, you were working yourself to death." Sophia was in the kitchen making pasta from scratch. "Maya, perfect timing. Come help me with the sauce. Mama burns it every time." "I do not burn it. I caramelize the onions." "You burn them." Maya found herself pulled into the rhythm of family cooking, chopping vegetables, stirring pots, being shooed away from the hot stove by Isabella, who insisted guests didn't work. But it didn't feel like work. It felt like belonging. Lorenzo arrived late, apologizing and kissing his mother's cheek before turning to Maya. "How's school going?" "Really well, actually. I got a 96 on my last anatomy exam. My professor said it was the highest score in the class." "Of course it was. You're brilliant." Lorenzo said it like it was obvious fact. "And the apartment renovations, acceptable." "Acceptable? It's amazing. I actually have hot water that stays hot now." "Good, you should have decent living conditions. It's the bare minimum." Dinner was loud and warm. Sophia and Isabella arguing about the proper way to make carbonara. Lorenzo telling stories about construction projects gone wrong. Everyone talking over each other in a mixture of English and Italian. Maya mostly listened, soaking in the chaos that felt nothing like her own quiet dinners with her mother and sister. After dinner, while Sophia and Lorenzo cleaned up, Isabella declared she'd cooked and therefore was exempt from cleaning. Isabella took Maya to her garden. "Tell me how you really are," Isabella said, tending her tomato plants. "Not the polite version, the truth." I'm okay, still adjusting. It's weird not having to worry about money every single day. I keep waiting for something to go wrong, for this to be too good to be true." "It's not, I promise you, Kara, this is real. My family keeps its promises." Isabella straightened, brushing dirt from her hands. "You did something good, you're being rewarded, it's that simple." "It doesn't feel simple." "No, then let me make it simple." Isabella took Maya's hands. "You saved my life, not just from those men, but—" "Maya, I'm getting old, I know this. And with age comes invisibility. People stop seeing you, stop valuing you. Those men looked at me and saw an easy target, an old woman with a nice purse." "You're not invisible." "To my family, no, but to the world, often, yes." Isabella's voice was firm. "You saw me not as an easy target, but as a person worth protecting. You risked your safety for mine. That kind of basic human decency is rarer than you think. So I'm repaying it. And you will let me because I'm old and Italian and stubborn, and you don't want to see how difficult I can be when I don't get my way." Maya laughed despite herself. "You're really stubborn, aren't you?" "Terrifyingly so. Ask my children." Isabella pulled her close. "Now tell me about your mother. When can I meet her?" Over the next month, Maya settled into her new reality. She dropped down to 20 hours a week at Pete's, just enough to stay connected to the work she loved, but not so much that it overwhelmed her. She actually had time to study, to go to her classes, to sleep a full night regularly. Her grades improved dramatically. Without the constant stress of financial crisis, she could focus on learning instead of just surviving. Her professors noticed. One pulled her aside to say she'd become one of his best students and asked if she'd considered going for her bachelor's instead of just her associate's. "I can't afford," Maya started, then stopped. "Actually, maybe I can. Let me talk to someone." Isabella, when Maya asked about extending the scholarship, didn't hesitate. "Of course you'll get your bachelor's, then your master's, then your doctorate if you want. Whatever you need to be the best nurse you can be." "That's not what the contract says." "The contract says what it says. I say what I say. And I say you're going all the way, no arguments." Lorenzo took Maya to meet her mother on a Sunday in October. They drove to the Bronx in his Mercedes, which drew stares in Maya's old neighborhood, and found Rosa Rodriguez in her wheelchair in the nursing home's garden. "Mommy," Maya said, bending to kiss her mother's cheek. "I brought someone to meet you. This is Lorenzo Romano. His family is helping pay for your care." Rosa took Lorenzo's hand, studying him with eyes that missed nothing. "Why?" "Because your daughter saved my mother's life, Mrs. Rodriguez. I'm repaying that debt." "By paying for nursing care, that's a big debt." "My mother's life is priceless. This is the least I can do." Lorenzo crouched to Rosa's level. "Your daughter is extraordinary, Mrs. Rodriguez. She's brave and kind and brilliant. You should be very proud." "I am." Rosa's voice was firm despite the tremor in her hands. "But Mr. Romano, let me be clear. My daughter is not for sale. Whatever you're paying, it doesn't buy you her time or her affection. Understood?" "Completely. I'm not buying anything. I'm paying a debt." Lorenzo's voice was respectful. "If Maya never wants to see my family again after her degree is finished, that's her choice. We're helping because it's right, not because we expect anything in return." Rosa held his gaze for a long moment, then nodded. "Okay, then thank you, not just for the money, but for seeing her, really seeing her. My Maya is special, but the world doesn't always notice. You noticed." "I did, my whole family has." Lorenzo stood. "If you ever need anything, Mrs. Rodriguez, you call. Maya has my number, anything at all." On the drive back to Brooklyn, Lorenzo was quiet. Finally, he said, "Your mother is formidable." "She is, even with the MS. She's still the toughest person I know. She loves you very much, and she's protective. She doesn't trust easily, not since my dad left." Maya looked out the window. "She's afraid people will use me or hurt me. She's seen too much of that." "I won't, neither will my family. I promise you that, Maya." "I believe you," and surprisingly she did. By December, Maya had finished her first semester with a 3.8 GPA, the highest she'd ever achieved. She'd made new friends in her classes, joined a study group, actually had time for a social life. She felt like a completely different person than the exhausted, desperate girl who'd been working 3 jobs 6 months ago. At the December family dinner, Isabella announced they were going to Rome for Christmas. All of us, family tradition. Maya, you're coming. I can't, I have to work and my mom. Your mother will be fine. We've arranged for your sister Daniela to stay at an excellent hotel near the nursing home for the week, with all expenses covered. And Pete gave you the time off. I called him. You called my boss? I did, told him you're spending Christmas with family in Italy. He thought it was romantic. Isabella smiled. Come with us, Cara, see where we come from, meet the rest of the family. The rest of the family? Cousins, aunts, uncles, the Italian branch, they want to meet the girl who saved La Nonna. Sophia laughed at Maya's expression. Don't look so terrified, they're loud but harmless, mostly. Maya went to Rome. Spent Christmas in a villa in Tuscany surrounded by Romanos who treated her like family, who included her in every tradition, who made her feel like she'd always belonged. She ate more food than she thought humanly possible, learned to make pasta from Lorenzo's Aunt Francesca, and stayed up late drinking wine and listening to stories. On Christmas Eve, after midnight mass in a tiny village church, Lorenzo walked Maya through the vineyards surrounding the villa. You're happy, he observed. I am, this whole thing, your family, Rome, the way everyone just includes me. It's overwhelming but wonderful. You belong here, can you feel it? Maya could, she'd never had this. Extended family, traditions, the sense of being part of something bigger than herself. Her own family had been small and then broken. But here, with the Romanos, she felt complete. Thank you, she said, for all of this, for changing my life. You changed mine too. My mother's happier than she's been in years. Sophia likes having another woman around who isn't her mother. And I... Lorenzo stopped walking, turning to face her. I like having you in our lives, Maya. You make us better. I just showed up and ate your food. You showed up and reminded us what courage looks like, what basic human decency looks like. You reminded me that good people still exist. His voice was serious. That matters more than you know. They walked back to the villa in companionable silence, and Maya thought about how her life had changed because of one moment, one decision to help instead of walk away. Sometimes bravery was rewarded. Sometimes the universe sent exactly the right people at exactly the right time. And sometimes a poor girl who saved a grandmother on the subway became part of a family she never knew she needed. Spring semester brought new challenges. Maya was taking advanced courses now, pathophysiology, pharmacology, complex medical cases. The work was intense, but she had time to focus because she wasn't working herself to exhaustion. She'd become a regular fixture at the Romano house. Sunday dinners always, plus random weeknight meals when Isabella decided Maya looked thin and needed feeding. She'd stopped protesting, had her own seat at the table, knew where the good wine glasses were kept. Sophia had become like the sister Maya never had. They went shopping together, to movies, to museums. Sophia taught her about art and wine and Italian curse words that made Isabella smack her and Lorenzo laugh. Lorenzo himself had become. What? Friend didn't feel right. Guardian angel felt too dramatic. Benefactor felt too transactional. He was just Lorenzo, checking in on her studies, asking about her mother's health, showing up at her apartment to fix things the renovation crew had missed. You know, I can call a handyman, Maya said one Saturday when Lorenzo appeared with tools to fix her leaky faucet. I am a handyman. I started working construction at 16. This is relaxing for me. You own a construction company. You don't have to personally fix my plumbing. I want to humor me. He tightened something under the sink. Besides, it gives me an excuse to check on you. Make sure you're eating enough, sleeping enough, not working too hard. You sound like my mother. I'll take that as a compliment. Your mother is brilliant. Lorenzo emerged from under the sink, wiping his hands. Actually, I wanted to talk to you about something, a job opportunity. I have a job. A better job. Romano Enterprises is opening a medical clinic for our construction workers. Basic care, injury treatment, that kind of thing. We need nursing staff. Interested? Lorenzo, I'm not a nurse yet. You will be in 6 months, and this would be perfect experience, real-world applications, lots of variety, excellent pay, and benefits. He leaned against the counter. Plus, you'd be working for family. If you needed time off for exams or family emergencies, you'd have it. No questions asked. It was generous, too generous. Maya studied his face. Why? Because we need good medical staff and you're going to be an excellent nurse. Because I want to help you build your career. Because, Lorenzo stopped, something flickering in his expression. Because I care about you, Maya. You've become important to me, to all of us. There was something in his voice, something that made Maya's pulse spike. But before she could respond, her phone rang. It's my mom's facility. I have to take this, she answered. Hello. The news was bad. Her mother had fallen, nothing broken, but the MS was progressing faster than expected. The doctors wanted to discuss increased care options, which meant more money, more decisions, more stress. Lorenzo watched her face fall as she talked to the administrator. When she hung up, he was already pulling out his phone. Don't, Maya said. Don't just throw money at this. My mother has pride, and so do I. I'm not throwing money. I'm calling Dr. Russo. He's a neurologist, specializes in MS. He'll review your mother's case, talk to her doctors, make sure she's getting the best possible care. Lorenzo was already dialing. This is what family does, Maya. We help each other. I'm not your family. Yes, you are. Lorenzo's voice was firm. Maybe not by blood, but by choice, by love, by loyalty, your family. My mother considers you a daughter. Sophia considers you a sister. And I... He stopped himself. I consider you essential, so let me help, please. Dr. Russo did review Rosa's case. He recommended a new treatment protocol, a different medication cocktail, and physical therapy adjustments. Within a month, Rosa's decline had stabilized. Not reversed. MS didn't work that way, but slowed significantly. That man saved my life, Rosa told Maya during a visit. Mija, I know you don't like accepting help. You got that from me, but these people, the Romanos, they're good. They're helping because they want to, not because they expect anything back. I know, Mommy, it's just hard to accept. I know it is, but sometimes when the universe sends angels, you don't question their wings. You just say thank you and accept the blessing. Rosa took Maya's hand. They love you, Mija, I can see it, especially Lorenzo. That man looks at you like you're precious. He looks at me like I'm a project. No, baby. He looks at you like you're the answer to a question he didn't know he was asking. Maya thought about that conversation as she studied for finals. Thought about Lorenzo showing up with tools to fix her apartment, calling doctors for her mother, offering her jobs, including her in family dinners and Christmas traditions. Thought about the way he smiled when she walked into a room, the way he listened when she talked about nursing, the way he'd held her hand during midnight mass in Rome, and it had felt completely natural. She'd been so focused on surviving, on finishing school, on taking care of her mother, that she hadn't noticed what was developing between them. Or maybe she'd noticed and chosen to ignore it because it felt too complicated, too risky, too much. Her last final was on a Friday in May. Maya walked out of the exam room feeling confident. She'd aced it, knew she had, and found Lorenzo waiting in the hallway. What are you doing here? Congratulating you on finishing your first full semester with decent grades. You did it, Maya, 3.8 GPA while working and taking care of your family. That's incredible. I couldn't have done it without you. Yes, you could have. It would have been harder and taken longer, but you'd have done it. You're the kind of person who finishes what she starts. Lorenzo smiled. Come on, we're celebrating. He took her to a rooftop restaurant in Manhattan, the kind with spectacular views and prices that made Maya wince. But Lorenz ordered champagne and told her to stop looking at the menu prices. I'm paying, you're celebrating, order whatever you want. Over dinner, Lorenzo asked about her plans for the summer. You're doing the clinical rotation, right? Starting in June. Yeah, 3 months of actual hospital work. I'm nervous. You'll be brilliant. You're going to be an amazing nurse, Maya. You have the skills and the compassion and the drive. Patients will love you. How can you be so sure? Because I've watched you for almost a year now. I've seen how you care for people, my mother, your mother, even the customers at Pete's. You see people, really see them, and you make them feel valued. That's what nursing is, making people feel human when they're vulnerable. Lorenzo's voice was serious. You're going to change lives, Maya Rodriguez. I'm absolutely certain of it. Something in his tone made Maya look up. Lorenzo was watching her with an intensity that made her breath catch. Lorenzo, I need to tell you something. I've been trying to find the right time, the right words, but there's never going to be a perfect moment, so I'm just going to say it. He set down his wine glass. I'm falling for you, have been for months, probably since that first night when you stood between my mother and 3 armed men without hesitation. And I know the timing is terrible. You're in school, you have your career to focus on. We started this as me paying a debt. Lorenzo, let me finish, please. He leaned forward. I'm not asking you to reciprocate. I'm not expecting anything. I just need you to know that you've become the most important person in my life, that I think about you constantly. That seeing you happy makes me happy. And that when you finish your degree and start your career if you wanted, if there was any possibility you might feel the same. Maya's heart hammered. She'd been denying her own feelings for months, telling herself Lorenzo was just being kind, that he saw her as charity case or replacement sister or family project. But looking at him now, at the vulnerability in his eyes, the hope mixed with fear, she couldn't deny it anymore. I feel the same, she said quietly. I have for a while, I just didn't think. I mean, you're Lorenzo Romano. You own companies and vacation in Italy and fix problems with phone calls. And I'm just Maya from the Bronx who works at a diner and was barely surviving before you came along. You're not just anything. You're extraordinary. You're brave and brilliant and kind, and you make me want to be better than I am. Lorenzo reached across the table, taking her hand. Maya, I don't care where you came from or what your bank account looks like. I care about who you are, and who you are is remarkable. Your family adores you. My mother has been not so subtly asking when I'm going to stop being an idiot and tell you how I feel. Sophia has a running bet with her cousins about when we'll get together. They knew before I did. Everyone knew except you, apparently. You're brilliant about anatomy but oblivious about emotions. Lorenzo smiled. So now that we've established we both have feelings, what do we do about it? I don't know, I haven't dated much. I've been too busy surviving. Then we take it slow. We figure it out together. No pressure, no expectations. We just see where this goes. Lorenzo squeezed her hand. I'm not going anywhere, Maya. Whether we're friends or something more, I'm in your life for the long haul. Your family now. That doesn't change. Maya thought about her life a year ago, exhausted, broke, alone. Thought about where she was now, supported, educated, surrounded by people who loved her. Thought about the man across from her who'd changed everything. Okay, she decided. Let's see where this goes, but Lorenzo, I need you to promise me something. Anything. If this doesn't work, if we try dating and it's a disaster, you don't pull your support for my education or my mother's care. That was about saving your mother, not about us. It stays separate. Of course, that will never change, regardless of what happens between us. You have my word. Then yes, I'd like to see where this goes. Lorenzo's smile was brilliant. He lifted her hand to his lips, kissing her knuckles. Thank you for giving me a chance, for being brave enough to try. I'm not brave, I'm terrified. Bravery and terror aren't mutually exclusive. Some of the bravest things we do are when we're most afraid. They left the restaurant holding hands, and Maya thought about courage, about how she'd been brave on a subway platform and it had changed her life. About how she was being brave now, opening her heart to someone who could break it because the alternative was staying closed off and alone. Sometimes bravery meant fighting muggers. Sometimes it meant accepting help when pride said refuse. And sometimes it meant letting yourself fall in love even when logic said it was too risky, too fast, too much. Maya chose bravery again. Because that's who she'd become, a girl brave enough to build a new life, one choice at a time. Dating Lorenzo was different than Maya expected. He was surprisingly old-fashioned, opening doors, planning elaborate dates, never pushing for more than she was ready to give. They went slowly, building on the friendship they'd already developed. But Maya noticed things she'd missed before. The way people deferred to Lorenzo everywhere they went. The security guards who appeared whenever they were in public. The hushed phone calls in Italian that Lorenzo took in another room, his voice dropping to something cold and commanding. What do you actually do? She asked one night at his penthouse in Manhattan. I know you own Romano Enterprises, but what does that mean? Lorenzo set down the wine glass he'd been holding. Do you really want to know, or would you prefer the sanitized version? The truth, always the truth. Okay, he gestured for her to sit on the couch beside him. My family, my grandfather specifically, was connected, organized crime. He ran operations in Brooklyn and parts of Manhattan. My father inherited the business and spent his life trying to legitimize it. When he died 10 years ago, I inherited everything, the legitimate companies and the less legitimate connections. Maya's stomach dropped. So you're Not in the Mafia, if that's what you're asking. Everything I do is legal now, but the connections remain. The respect or fear that people show me, that's from my grandfather's reputation and my father's power. I use it when necessary, but I'm not involved in illegal activities. When necessary, what does that mean? It means when someone needs protection, I can provide it. When someone needs a problem to disappear, I can make it happen, legally, through lawyers and connections, not violence. When someone needs help navigating systems that are stacked against them, I can open doors. Lorenzo's voice was serious. My family's past isn't pretty, Maya, but I'm trying to build something different, something clean. Does that include what you did for me? Paying my tuition, my mother's bills, is that part of the making problems disappear? No, that's just helping someone who helped us. No strings, no ulterior motives. I swear to you, Maya, what I'm doing for you comes from gratitude and— He paused. And love, not from obligation or guilt or trying to buy loyalty. Maya processed this information. She'd suspected the Romano family had a complicated past. You didn't get that level of wealth and influence in Brooklyn without some shadows. But hearing it confirmed was different. Are you in danger? Is your family? Not currently. Most of the old rivalries died with my grandfather's generation. The families that are still operating, we have truces, understandings. They stay out of my territory, I stay out of theirs. And what happens if someone breaks the truce? Lorenzo's expression went cold. Then I remind them why my family has survived for 3 generations while others fell. I don't start conflicts, Maya, but I finish them. She should have been scared, should have run from this revelation of danger and moral ambiguity. But looking at Lorenzo, at the man who fixed her plumbing and took her mother to specialists and included her in family traditions, she couldn't make herself feel afraid. Okay, she said. Okay, that's it. What do you want me to say? That I'm scared? I'm not. That I'm judging you? I can't. You've been nothing but kind to me. That I want to walk away. Maya took his hand. Lorenzo, I grew up in the Bronx. I've seen violence, poverty, desperation. I've seen good people do questionable things to survive. I'm not naive enough to think the world is black and white. But there are lines. And you haven't crossed them. You told me yourself, everything you do is legal now. You're trying to build something better. That's all any of us can do, be better than our past. Lorenzo pulled her close, kissing her forehead. You're extraordinary, you know that. You keep saying that, I'm really not. To me you are, you always will be. Maya's clinical rotation started in June at Brooklyn Methodist Hospital. It was intense, 12-hour shifts, constant learning, the reality of nursing hitting hard. She loved it and was terrified by it in equal measure. Lorenzo adjusted his schedule to hers, bringing her dinner when she worked late, picking her up after exhausting shifts, listening to her process the emotional weight of caring for the sick and dying. I had a patient die today, she told him one night, collapsing on his couch after a particularly brutal shift. Mrs. Chen, 78 years old, she'd been in the hospital for 2 weeks. I was there when she passed. Her family was there too, and it was peaceful, but it's never easy, Lorenzo finished. No, it's not. Maya felt tears threaten. I'm going to be doing this for the rest of my career, watching people suffer, watching some of them die. How do you not get destroyed by that? You remember why you're doing it. You're not there to prevent death, that's inevitable for everyone. You're there to make the journey easier, to make people feel cared for when they're most vulnerable. That matters, Maya, more than you know. She cried then, and Lorenzo held her, and Maya thought about how much her life had changed. A year ago, she'd been alone with her grief and exhaustion. Now she had someone to hold her when she broke, someone who understood that strength meant allowing yourself to be vulnerable sometimes. In August, Isabella insisted on throwing Maya a birthday party. 23 is important. You're officially an adult. I've been an adult since I was 12 and started taking care of my mom. Nonsense. Now you're an adult with a family who loves you. Different thing entirely. The party was at the Brooklyn house. Just family and a few of Maya's closest friends from school. But Isabella had clearly spent days preparing food, and Sophia had decorated the garden with lights and flowers, and there were presents. So many presents that Maya felt overwhelmed. You've already given me everything, she protested. We've given you opportunity. You're doing the hard part, actually becoming a nurse, taking care of your mother, building your life. We're just supporting you. Isabella pulled her aside after dinner. Come with me, Kara, I have something to show you. She led Maya to a bedroom on the second floor, one Maya had never been in. It was beautiful, decorated in soft blues and whites, with a queen bed, a desk, a full bookshelf. "This is your room," Isabella said. "For when you stay over, when you need a quiet place to study, when you just need family around you. This is yours." "Isabella, I can't." "You can, you will. Maya, you've been part of this family for over a year now. It's time you had a real place in this house, not just a guest status." Isabella took her hands. "I never had a daughter except Sophia, but if I did, I'd want her to be exactly like you, brave and kind and brilliant. So let me be your Italian grandmother. Let me spoil you. Let me give you a home." Maya couldn't speak through the tears. She just hugged Isabella and let herself be loved in a way she'd never experienced before. That night, after most guests had left, Lorenzo found Maya sitting in her room, looking at the framed photos Isabella had already placed on the dresser. Photos from Christmas in Rome, from Sunday dinners, from random moments over the past year when someone had captured her laughing or cooking or just being part of the family. "She really means it," Lorenzo said from the doorway. "This is yours forever if you want it." "How did this happen? How did I go from barely surviving to this?" Maya gestured at the room, at the life she'd been given. "You were brave one night on a subway platform. Everything else followed from that one moment of courage." Lorenzo sat beside her on the bed. "But Maya, this isn't charity or obligation anymore. This is family. My mother loves you. Sophia loves you. He paused. "I'm completely in love with you, have been for months, and I need you to know, whatever happens with your career, wherever life takes you, you'll always have a place here. Always." "I love you too," Maya said, the words feeling both terrifying and natural. "I've been afraid to say it because everything happens so fast, but I do. I love you." Lorenzo kissed her then, soft and sweet and full of promise. And for the first time since her father left and her mother got sick and life became about survival instead of living, Maya felt completely, perfectly home. 2 years later, Maya stood in Brooklyn Methodist Hospital's cafeteria, wearing scrubs with Rodriguez, RN, embroidered over the pocket, and tried to believe this was real. She'd passed her boards on the first try, had been hired immediately by the hospital where she'd done her clinical rotation, and had been working as a floor nurse for 6 months. She loved it. The work was hard, physically demanding, emotionally draining, but deeply fulfilling. She made a difference every day and her patients loved her. "Nurse Rodriguez," a voice behind her made her turn. Dr. Patel, one of the attending physicians, smiled. "I wanted to tell you, the work you did with Mrs. Santos yesterday was excellent. Her family specifically asked me to thank you. They said you made their mother feel safe during a terrifying time." "Just doing my job, Dr. Patel." "No, you're doing more than that. You're giving patients dignity and compassion. That's rare. Don't lose it." After her shift, Maya took the subway to Carroll Gardens, her route so familiar now that she could do it in her sleep. The brownstone that had become home more than her own apartment, which she'd mostly given up, spending most nights in her room at the Romano house. Isabella was in the kitchen making dinner, opera playing on the stereo. She looked up as Maya entered. "Cara, how was your shift?" "Long but good. I helped a patient recover from surgery, taught a new mom about infant care, and made an elderly man laugh. Pretty successful day." "That's my girl, always making the world better." Isabella kissed her cheek. "Go wash up. Dinner's almost ready. Lorenzo will be here soon. He texted that he's picking up Sophia from the airport." Maya went to her room, fully hers now, filled with nursing textbooks and photos and the comfortable clutter of actual living. She'd moved in officially 6 months ago, after Isabella had essentially demanded it. "You're here every night anyway. You might as well make it official. Plus, I'm getting old. I like having you nearby." Isabella was 74 and showed no signs of slowing down, but Maya didn't argue. Her mother was doing better, too. The treatments Dr. Russo had recommended had stabilized her condition significantly. Rosa would never fully recover, but she had good quality of life, could still recognize her daughters most days, could still give advice and make terrible jokes. Daniela was in college now, City College, studying education, her tuition covered by the same foundation that had paid for Maya's. The sisters had dinner together once a week, and Daniela had become friends with Sophia, both of them teaming up to tease Maya about her relationship with Lorenzo. Which reminded her, where was Lorenzo? She checked her phone. A text: "Caught in traffic, be there in 20, I have news, good news." 20 minutes later, Lorenzo arrived with Sophia, both of them smiling like they shared a secret. Over dinner, which was loud and warm and full of the chaotic love Maya had grown to expect, Lorenzo kept glancing at her with barely suppressed excitement. Finally, after dessert, he stood. "I have an announcement. The medical clinic at Romano Enterprises, it's expanding. We're opening a second location in Queens, focused on providing free or low-cost care to underserved communities, and we need a head nurse to run it." Everyone looked at Maya. "Wait, you want me to run it? You're qualified, you have the skills, the compassion, and you understand the communities we'll be serving because you came from them. You'd be perfect." Lorenzo pulled out a folder. "This is the proposal. Salary, benefits, your responsibilities. Look it over, take your time deciding, but Maya, I really hope you'll consider it." Maya opened the folder with shaking hands. The salary was generous, the benefits excellent. But more than that, the position would let her do exactly what she'd always wanted: provide care to people who couldn't afford it, make medicine accessible, be the nurse she'd wish her mother had had. "Yes," she said. "I don't need to think about it, yes." The table erupted in celebration. Sophia produced champagne. Isabella cried happy tears. And Lorenzo pulled Maya into a kiss that made her feel like everything, every struggle, every sacrifice, every moment of grinding exhaustion had been worth it. Later, after Sophia had gone home and Isabella had retired to her room, Lorenzo walked Maya to her bedroom. "I'm so proud of you," he said. "Everything you've accomplished, everything you've become. My mother was right that first night. You're extraordinary. I couldn't have done any of this without you, without all of you." "Yes, you could have. It would have taken longer and been harder, but you'd have made it. You're the kind of person who finishes what she starts." Lorenzo pulled her close. "But Maya, I'm glad you didn't have to do it alone. I'm glad I got to be part of your journey." "You're not just part of my journey, you're part of my life, my family, my future." Maya looked up at him. "I love you. I love all of you. You took a broke, desperate girl who helped your mother one night and gave her a whole new world. No, Tesoro, you gave us a gift. You reminded us what courage looks like, what basic human decency looks like. You made us better." Lorenzo touched her face gently. "And I'm going to spend the rest of my life making sure you never regret that night you decided to be brave." "I could never regret it. Best decision I ever made." Even though it led to all this complication, to dating a man with a questionable family history, to being part of the Romano chaos. Especially because of all that, I was surviving before, now I'm living. There's a difference. Lorenzo kissed her again, soft and sweet and full of forever promises. And Maya thought about how much her life had changed from one moment of courage on a subway platform. She'd been poor, struggling, alone. Now she was a nurse, she had a career she loved, she had a family who adored her, and she had a man who looked at her like she was the answer to every question he'd ever asked. All because she'd refused to walk away when an elderly woman needed help. All because she'd chosen to be brave when being safe would have been easier. Sometimes, Maya reflected, the universe rewards courage. Sometimes it sends 3 robbers and a grandmother and a family who believes in paying their debts with love instead of money. Sometimes salvation comes from the most unexpected places. And sometimes, just sometimes, a poor girl from the Bronx gets to live happily ever after, not because a prince saved her, but because she saved herself by saving someone else first. That's the best kind of fairy tale. The kind that's real.